At some point, most parents hear about reverse psychology.
Tell them you don't want them to do it. Act like it's not a big deal. Pretend you don't care.
And sometimes with neurotypical children, this playful strategy works. But when you're raising an autistic child, things are rarely that simple. So the real question becomes, is reverse psychology helpful for autistic children? And if so, when? Many autistic children are wired for directness. Today we're going to talk about when reverse psychology can be helpful, when it can backfire, and how to approach it in a way that respects neurodivergent communication. Ready? Because this is Kind Parent Collective, less perfect parent, more real one. What reverse psychology actually is. Before we decide whether to use it, we need to define it clearly. Reverse psychology is when you state the opposite of what you want, hoping the child will choose the desired behavior independently. It works best when a child is motivated by autonomy, enjoys playful contradiction, and can detect subtle social cues. It assumes the child understands, I don't really mean what I'm saying, and that assumption is where things become complicated. Autistic children often process language literally. If you say,
I bet you can't clean up those blocks,
they may hear exactly that, a statement of doubt, not a playful challenge. And when language is taken literally, reverse psychology doesn't feel clever. It feels confusing or even dishonest. So the first filter we must use is this. Does my child understand implied meaning? Because if they don't, reverse psychology becomes miscommunication. The nervous system factor. There is another layer that matters even more than literal language: regulation. Reverse psychology only works when a child's nervous system is calm. If a child is dysregulated, overwhelmed, anxious, overstimulated, or frustrated, their brain is not available for playful nuance. In those moments, the prefrontal cortex is offline, and reverse psychology requires cognitive flexibility. If a child is already resistant or escalated, saying the opposite of what you mean may feel invalidating or manipulative or threatening to their sense of safety. So one of the clearest rules within kind parenting is this: never use reverse psychology during dysregulation. It is a tool for light moments, not hard ones. When it can work. There are moments when reverse psychology can be effective for autistic children, but they tend to share specific qualities. The child is calm, the relationship feels safe, the tone is clearly playful, and the child has previously demonstrated enjoyment in light competition or autonomy-driven challenges. For some autistic children, particularly those who are highly verbal and strong-willed, reverse psychology can actually reduce power struggles. Why? Because it shifts control. Instead of saying, put your shoes on now, which may trigger demand avoidance or rigidity, you might say in a light tone,
I don't think those shoes could possibly get on your feet before I count to 5.
Now the task becomes self-directed. The child feels in control, but notice something important. The tone must signal safety. The relationship must already feel secure. And the child must understand that this is playful exaggeration. If those pieces are not present, it stops being empowering and starts being confusing. The risk of eroding trust. One of the most important values in parenting autistic children is predictability. Clear communication builds safety. When children know that your words mean what they say, the world feels more stable. If reverse psychology becomes frequent or strategic rather than playful, it can subtly erode that predictability. A child may begin to wonder,
do they mean what they say?
And for children who already struggle with social interpretation, that uncertainty can increase anxiety. Trust grows when communication is direct, and autistic children often thrive with directness. So reverse psychology should never replace clarity. It should never become a manipulation strategy. If it does, even unintentionally, the child may feel tricked rather than empowered. Demand avoidance and autonomy. Some autistic children experience strong resistance to direct demands, not because they are oppositional, but because their nervous system reacts to perceived loss of control. In those cases, reverse psychology can sometimes reduce pressure. When framed gently, it allows the child to initiate action independently. But there is a subtle distinction here. True autonomy support sounds like,
You can choose to brush your teeth now or after your pajamas.
reverse psychology sounds like,
I guess we're not brushing teeth tonight.
the first builds executive function, the second relies on contradiction. While the second might occasionally spark movement, the first builds long-term skill. So if the goal is independence, autonomy, supportive language often works better than reverse psychology. Reverse psychology is more of a spark. Autonomy language is the foundation. When it should be avoided. There are clear moments when reverse psychology should not be used. During meltdowns, during anxiety spikes, around food, around safety rules, during emotionally vulnerable conversations. In these moments, clarity equals security. If a child is afraid of the dark and you say,
I guess you'll just have to stay scared then.
hoping they'll prove bravery, that risks shame. If a child is struggling with eating and you say, fine, don't eat anything, hoping they'll eat, that risks deeper control battles. Reverse psychology should never touch areas of emotional vulnerability. Playful contradiction works only when the stakes are low, low stakes, low stress, high safety. A gentler alternative. If what you're seeking is cooperation without power struggles, there are alternatives that tend to work more consistently for autistic children. Clear, simple language, visual supports, predictable routines, offering controlled choices, collaborative problem solving. These strategies build regulation instead of relying on contradiction, and they preserve the trust that autistic children rely on. Because many autistic children feel safest when communication is transparent, when words match intention, when expectations are explicit. The bigger question. Sometimes when parents ask about reverse psychology, what they're really asking is, how do I reduce constant resistance? And that question deserves compassion. Parenting an autistic child can involve repeated negotiations around everyday tasks. Shoes, teeth, transitions, bedtime. It's exhausting. But resistance often signals stress, sensory overload, rigidity, or anxiety, not defiance. When we respond with curiosity instead of strategy alone, we often uncover the root. And when we address the root, cooperation increases naturally, not because we outsmarted our child, but because we supported their nervous system. Reverse psychology is not inherently harmful, but it must be used carefully, playfully, sparingly, and never in place of direct, respectful communication. Autistic children deserve communication that feels safe and honest. Your relationship matters more than any strategy. So, when is the best time to use reverse psychology with autistic children? When the moment is light, when the child is regulated, when the tone is playful, when trust is strong, and when the stakes are low. Outside of that, clarity will always serve you better. Kind parenting is not about cleverness. It is about attunement. And autistic children thrive not because we outmaneuver them, but because we understand them. And if today was rough, you still did enough. Catch you on the next one.